I was born in San Francisco. I think I grew up in kind of a revolutionary time, a mild revolution. But I think people were really questioning, their sexuality and how to raise children. And I was really lucky in the sense that I was surrounded by a lot of creative people, and during a pretty experimental time in a big city that's actually a pretty small city. I think it made me the person who I am today. Learning about what I know nothing about can be really inspiring. I think sometimes people think that inspiration is always like this beautiful, wonderful thing, but I think inspiration can also be really humbling. It can be something that forces your hand because you haven't taken the time to recognize what you're doing, or realize what you should be doing if you're thinking a certain way about things. It's really important for me to get a review, and not because I think it's going to sell the work, but because I want to hear what somebody has to say about my work. I want people to fall in love with my ideas, right? Because I'm in love with my own ideas. I think all artists are, if they're good artists. They're going to be in love with their own ideas. Like, if you're not in love with your ideas, then you're not going to be able to make interesting work. So, same with curating. Like, if you're not in love with the other artist's work, if you're not in love with the idea of talking about their work and explaining their work, then you're not a good partner. You're not being generous. You're just taking. Sometimes writing can keep me from just, I don't know, making something goofy just because I can. Then it makes me take myself seriously. And I think it's important to have that way to be at peace with trying to sound intelligent. For me, writing is almost like a gray area. Like, I don't consider myself to be a writer. So the title, I'm not burdened by the title, like, I'm a writer, I have to write every day, I have to write for the people, a political writer. I am an artist, so it's almost just like another room for me to move into when it's the time for me to write. In terms of photography, sometimes I will pay somebody to document something, and I will look at the documentation and I will realize that, I don't know, that the photograph is more interesting than the object, and that the art is the photograph. And same with like printmaking, where you're making a print and you realize that the stencils are more interesting than the print. Like, those things just happen. Sometimes it's such a nice surprise. Like, oh, there it is. Woo! In order for the ideas that I'm playing with to get across, even to me, it often has to be produced in a way that is accessible, that is even familiar, even if you've never seen it before. You have to be in studio. It doesn't even mean that you are making your work. You're not going to walk into your studio and make good art. I have a studio right now. It probably took me 4 years to really be comfortable enough to make work inside of that space. I don't really believe in creative blocks. I think part of the process, is being able to fall down and stand back up again and realize that part of making the work is falling down.